In this demonstration, we are going to connect our Amazon Web Services account to Microsoft Defender for Cloud. To get started connecting any other environment to Defender for Cloud than Azure itself, we need to be in the management section here on the left side of the Defender for Cloud overview page, and we need to select environment settings. Here from the top, we can go and add environments like Amazon Web Services, the Google Cloud Platform, GitHub, and Azure DevOps. In this example, we want to be adding the Amazon Web Services to be managed by Defender for Cloud. So I'm going to go and name this my AWS connector for the connector for Defender for Cloud. I'm going to use a management account and I want to be managing any of the AWS regions. I want to store my configuration in a certain subscription as well as a certain resource group. We can select the location of where we want this connector to be hosted. We have to select an AWS account ID, which is a value of 12 numbers. This is what you can get from your AWS account. If you want to know where to get this, this is the AWS console home. You can select your environment here. You can select the account ID here. So we can take that account ID and then move forward in the configuration. What do we want to enable? Do we want to enable Defender for AWS for the cloud security posture management? Then do you want to monitor servers? And here, just like the Defender for Cloud for Azure itself, it shows the exact same kind of options that we could possibly enable for servers in Amazon Web Services. Also, you can set up how things are being covered. For example, do you want to run agentless scanning or you want to enable the Azure Arc agent on those machines? And sometimes there is extra new capabilities. For example, you can have a vulnerability assessment done by Microsoft Defender itself or the integrated Qualys scanner that also comes with Microsoft Defender for Cloud. For databases, we can protect SQL estates, vulnerability discovery, and more for database management. And when you check out the partial settings, we can enable, for example, SQL servers on virtual machines, log analytics extensions, and automatic SQL server discovery and registration. For containers, we have these kind of components like Kubernetes services, runtime, threat protection, and more. Plus, when it comes to the settings, how do we want to enable Kubernetes auditing and for how long do we want to do that? Now, if this is what we want to configure, we can then configure access based on a default type of access or the least privilege component. We can then get a template file that we can download, which is based on the selections that we have made here in the select plans section. So we can take this file and then in the end what we need to do is we need to take that file and then connect it into AWS. So there's a link that we need to go into. I'm here in that link. I can then upload the template file, which we can just got just from Azure, and from here we can move forward and connect the connection stack. Here we get to see all the settings that AWS wants. We can add tags into this. We can set up some role names if we need to change the permissions, for example. And then what we can do is we can just move forward in this setting. Here we get all the different components that we can start managing, the tagging, the permissions that we have set up. Once we are done, we can click acknowledge that we are going to make use of this and then submit our session towards the AWS environment. Now this is going to allow us to make our changes on this side. Then, if we are done with all that, we can then go in and move forward. We first need to also create a stack set, which allows us again to go through the different components. We have a template again. We can upload that template file. We need to take that same file here, and then we can start moving forward here. So we are just going to do pretty much the same steps again. We have to give this a Defender for Cloud stack set. Let me just give that a name here, and it must only contain letters, numbers, and dashes. Must start with a letter. Maybe I want to make sure that this is all smaller letters here, and then we can be moving forward. Once this is done, we can set this to be a managed execution or inactive or inactive. I'm going to go and perform one operation at a time. And if I am happy with my settings here, we can then also enter the accounts that we want to add into this, or we can just add the environment. We can add the regions in here. So where do we want to be configuring the solutions, or just add all of them. And then once you're done, you could be moving forward in this section. Once everything is done here, you can go into review and generate, and that will actually add your Amazon account into Defender for Cloud. From that point on, when you check out, for example, your inventory, you can start searching for solutions based on certain components. For example, hey, based on what account do we want to connect all this, for example. This is how you can connect your AWS account into Microsoft Defender for Cloud.